WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And welcome back, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is now 8:49, and you're listening to Ari and Roleza, and we are Activated Mornings this morning. There's an opinion piece. Letters to the editor at the Searchlight newspaper that was published March 28th that we do believe is a timely topic, and we'd like to delve into it briefly. The headline is the Transportation Stress and Roads. Now, it reads, there has never been another time in our history when we had more vehicles on our roads than now. This is a sign of a bit of progress in our society. Our government is largely about progress and development. However, there are two reasons why the current administration might not be placed back there by the Vincentian people in the next elections. One of their failure to fix roads in this country after being in office for so many terms, and the other, their inability to improve the public transport system. Everyone is watching this for too long. There has been so much talk about this, and it's almost a national joke. Now, how they will fix roads halfway when election times are upon the nation. The number of times area representatives make promises to residents in local areas and set dates but fail to deliver is long past angering to many citizens. Imagine every single time one leaves their homes and comes back, it's stone, gravel, and potholes. This is the reality for many Vincentians. An administration in office for so long failing to remedy this is concerning. Vehicle damage and wear and tear coupled with heavier vehicle import demands have not been a good combination facing private car owners in particular. This time around, people have already used the fetting and big music and entertainment shows to characterize election campaigns. That game has to be lifted. A big cross-section of this nation is bored and will no longer have that part of their intelligence insulted. Now, that is just part of the letter to the editor there, the opinion piece. But
now let's finish it. Voting on emotional
Well,
highs is
you
getting
finished it.
sorry. All right. So no, and I don't know if you realized, but I was chuckling on underneath as I was reading that, right? Voting on emotional highs is getting tired for many. Vincentians today are more aware of what a high standard of public life should look like. All right. All right, we could finish it because it's a short article. The
Yeah.
attempts to stop lewd and loud music in minivans is still not being properly enforced, and the continued accidents show how the overpacking and speeding continues despite some improvements. Vincentians are now at a place where they need these to be replaced by better. People want their own individual seats in an air-conditioned bus with their personal space intact. We still see no plan in sight for this, and with the increase in crime and in particular gun violence, security on public transportation is yet to become a priority. It is going to be some interesting days ahead on Vinci Roads, and the article was written by Sheldon Bramble.
No, we don't know if that's a pseudonym, but that's the name there. Now, if you are living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you are aware a number of villages have horrible roads. Just last week, we saw some minibuses in Korea area going on strike because of the deplorable conditions of the roads. And then there was a live right after that on Eyewitness News. Well, Eyewitness News was reporting live that there was some fixes being made to the roads shortly after the strike. Now, I have been in St. Vincent for a little over a year. Since I've been here, the road to Edinburgh Atley Hall has been the gutters have been placed, and the road has just been like that forever. And I don't mean literally forever. I usually have to correct that because I don't know why some people take things like that literally, but the road has been like that for the longest while. Now, if it was a 1-2 pothole, I could understand. But going over to Atley Hall, you have to fall into these potholes. There are some craters in the road. There are some gutters in the road. And these are tax-paying Vincentians just like anybody else. And that's just one area. In Kingston, when you drive into Kingston, I think that's Bay Street in front of Coates and Sprats and in front of the financial complex. There are like little bumps there in the road that you wouldn't expect to be there in capital Kingston, especially right in front of the financial complex where the Prime Minister's office is. What then is being done to combat this? Is it a lack of funding? Is it poor management? Is it the persons at a Ministry of Transport Works and Baxter? Is it that they're exhausted? Is it that the projects aren't being well timed? Is it that they have to divert funds from one project to another? What is the reason why we are having these problems? And then persons tend to blame the fact that there are more vehicles in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There are more vehicles in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for people's comfort, for people's convenience. You cannot rely on public transportation. A lot of the public transportation is 1, uncomfortable due to the music. 2, uncomfortable due to the speeding. 3, uncomfortable due to the way that they pack some of these passenger vans.
And I don't think, I always say that sometimes some of these vans not even made for, I know, I small, so a couple of me could hold on a seat comfortably. But even to have 4 persons on a seat, it's what size of these persons, right? Because even small me sitting down next to somebody big, it feels uncomfortable, you know? But yeah, continue, Harry.
With the recent announcement in New York City, Lower Manhattan, that the toll needs to be paid, $15 toll to enter the city. I was having a discussion with a friend who works at Braxa. It was a group discussion, but we mentioned what if that was the case in Kingston? Now, I personally feel like if you introduce a tool in Kingston, I'm not leaving Kittles, Pembroke area. Everything I have is in this area. There's a supermarket, the Graves, there are bars, there's a gym, Oxygen is right there in Camden Park. Everything I need is in that area. I would not have a need to go into Kingston. But
well, so what was the point of the conversation?
Well, the reason why Americans introduce these tools is to have money to manage the roads, to fix the roads and all these things. But then the other problem is that is a much larger population, and it cannot practically be enforced here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
But I can't see it. I can't actually see it. So I'm not necessarily advocating for a toll, but I do recognize that there is a lot of congestion in Kingston in terms of vehicles. And one of the reasons why that happens is because we are still yet to decentralize a lot of services. Now, in your case, you're saying that you can find all of the things that you need within this particular zone, right? How many persons within the different communities or different constituencies have the same facilities that they can use within their zone, but still choose to venture into Kingston?
I've never gone into Kingston and can't find parking.
Ari, seriously? You've never made a rounds in Kingston, can't find parking?
No. There are different parking lots. Just Thursday when Kingston was full, I found parking 2 different places.
Listen, I have had so for me, there's one place that I tend to park, which always most times have available parking, right? But the thing of it is that when you go into Kingston proper, there are many times where I've had to circle just to try to find parking because the parking lots or the primary parking lots are full. And this was why I had made the point once about we need to have high-rise car park at least in one location in Kingston for this very reason. When it comes to carnival time and people in their rentals and everybody in Kingston trying to get their last minute things, especially when it's a long weekend coming up, it is difficult to find parking in town.
So maybe it's because I go to Kingston a lot, because even carnival time, I find parking quite easily. Now I know that you're telling me what's my experience.
I'm not going to discount what you're experiencing. But what I'm going to say is that many persons can't relate to that. And this is why I made the point once about when it is that I have, let's say if I need to go and collect let's say something by a marriage or whatever, like a large package, that I would not use my own vehicle. I would use Wrong Tongue Taxi, park somewhere, use wrong tongue taxi because it's easier for them to maneuver through traffic, as opposed to me trying to, let's say, pull up downstairs via MeryJet or BMC agencies, run upstairs, handle my business, and then I have on my hazard light the whole time, you know.
No,
so it's these little things.
That area is an area that doesn't have
designated parking.
Yeah.
Right.
You
right.
might have to go and park somewhere else in the area. You might have to make a wrong couple times for that specific area because of the I think it's lanes there. Excuse me, KCCU, BMC. There are a lot of different businesses there, and persons tend to pull aside there, and it's usually a slight build up in traffic, and you usually can't find parking. That area, I understand.
So this is, I'm only making reference to this particular area, but what about other areas where, let's say you want to run into a supermarket and the supermarket doesn't have parking directly in front of it? What do you do?
So it's inconvenient, but you find parking at the nearest
if you can find parking, that's what I'm saying. If you can find, your case might be an anomaly, but
I don't know. I think a lot of people don't understand the size or really know the size of the vehicle and know where they can put the vehicle, where they can legally park in Kingstown. That might be a whole other conversation. Now, I'm not saying that there are not a lot of vehicles in Kingstown, but there are places to park. And if it is that I cannot, let's say I want to go to Bickers and I cannot find a parking in Bickers, I look for someone to park and walk down to Bickers, but people don't do that.
So this is the other thing. It's where it might be convenient for persons, especially if you're going shopping, for you to have to walk with load. I cannot walk with load to Kingston to where it is that I generally park. So this is why it says I would use the services wrong tongue taxi.
Yeah, but not everybody could park in front of buildings or supermarkets and stuff. It's not practical.
So it's or even within a relative short distance, because we know the main areas within Kingston where business and transactions can be conducted, right? So the point to all of this, listeners, was that maybe what can help to ease traffic congestion as well is to have decentralized services so that persons do not feel the need to have to come into Kingston, which is what many of us would have been advocating all along, because traffic coming into Kingston, there is a buildup, there is limited parking, etc., especially during high period times, right? The point with the roads. Now, I had to chuckle with parts of the article, parts of the opinion piece, where they said that talk about it, it's almost like a national joke, right? And I can understand this situation because I've always been of the view that, and I know that I used to say before, if you fix my road in Crabhole, Clay Valley, saying it again, yes, that I will vote. I will consider voting. Now, I'm saying this as a joke, but the thing of it is that persons actually take it seriously. They're saying if my road is not fixed, I will not be voting. Now, the thing of it is that you're paying your taxes, right? You're paying your road taxes, your licenses, etc. Everything. You're doing all of these things. VAT, if nothing else, is coming out from everything that most things that you would make a payment for. So the government is receiving money for it. Now, I should not have to say, fix my road and you will get my vote. That's not how it's supposed to work, because these things are supposed to be done regardless. You know, so this is one of the things where persons say that you can know when elections is coming up because roads are being fixed, but this should never have to be the case.
And you could know when the ruling government has a seat in an area, because a lot of these Kingston seats, you go to the roads going up to Sharps, Green Hill, Edinburgh, Otley Hall, Lodge Village. These roads are horrible roads.
Yeah.
Horrible roads.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, the thing of it is that work needs to be done. And there are always times when I stop and think. I've never really thought it through fully in terms of what it is my preference is. But for us as Vincentians, would we feel better, let's say, seeing all of our roads fixed and fixed properly so that the government doesn't necessarily have to touch them for another, let's say, 10 plus years? Would we prefer to see and let's say our hospital services being up to par and being up to scratch and, you know, fully there, etc., in terms of services, medication, etc.? Or would we prefer to see capital projects such as the ports?
I don't. You know, I think that there are funds for these things and there are people donating to these things. But if it is that I am paying taxes, I am paying my license, I am paying and they keep raising. The price for your license is raising. The insurance is raising. Your vehicle license is raising. Your registration is raising. there is no reason why I am paying this for this particular purpose and it's being diverted to another project.
But Ari, and this is what I'm asking. What would make us a bit happier? These capital projects that we're seeing are just the basic things.
You see, I'm not opposed to things like the port. But what
with
I
our
would
limited
like
resources, with our limited financial resources.
the thing is, we can't complain that there are a lot of vehicles or too much vehicles in St. Vincent. The more vehicles come in, the more taxes being paid for these vehicles. So why it is that the roads not being fixed in certain areas? Why is it that the road problem is not being addressed? And year after year for the past more than 10 years, that the person say it's a joke. That person know, roads fixing, I mean election coming. When roads fixing, something happening. CLAC going to be in that area. And then when you say that, some of the people are offended. Oh no, this is not the case. But what are the reason why the road is fixed? But we need the roads fixed because persons use these roads. And we need a solution. And we can't just keep going another 5-10 years wondering what is going to happen. Will we ever get the roads that we need? It can't keep happening like this. But unfortunately at 9:05, we have to make way for our bank rates, brought to you by Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brick by brick.